What is going on, everybody? We are now live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Shop Podcast. We are back, another weekend show, another fire ass show. We appreciate you guys. Awesome attendance. You guys show up and show out every single week. Last week's show was fucking amazing. Huge shout out to Dealer. If you did not get a chance to go check out that show, please go back in the archives. It is posted. It's posted on Twitter if you can't find it on YouTube. So check it out. It was amazing. Social shout out to Dealer, man. Go check out Dealer's content as well. But we got a great week lined up for you guys. Bunch of great topics. Had an awesome fucking poll of the week. I hope everybody is having a fucking fire ass weekend, man. We got a lot to cover today. But before we do anything, let's get to my panel members, the most amazing panel on YouTube, on any gaming podcast, bar none. So let's go ahead and just get started with you, Stagger. How your week been, brother? How you feeling and what's going on with you, man?
Oh, the week's been good. Just been playing the games and streaming, working on The Office. Did Boom's podcast this week. Had a great time
Nice.
on that
Shout
Thursday
out to
morning.
Boom.
Yeah, it was a great time. Great host, great panel. Just living life, man. That's about it.
Good. Yeah, I know we were talking about them sinuses before the show got started, so hopefully those
well,
won't hopefully those won't give you any issues on the show. But glad to see you, man. It's always a fun time. One of the best guys, and once again, go watch him stream on Twitch. Go follow everything he's done. Go follow him on
Been
Twitter as
doing
well.
late night impromptu mixer streams again too.
Oh, what?
So
Sprinkle it in the
yeah,
mixer? We giving Mixer some love?
yeah, a little
Wow.
bit.
Okay, a little bit, but it's all good. But we appreciate you, man. So just go check him out on Twitter, though. You have everything there that he does as far as the links to where you can find him. Go check him out there. He's an amazing guy, man. So Centurion, how you doing this week, brother? What's going on with you? Where can everybody find you at, brother?
What's going on, everybody? It is great to be here on another fire show with an awesome cast. I've been looking forward to chatting with you guys all weekend about the subjects you sent to us. Man, you can always find me just kind of hanging around Xbox Live, Twitter, and YouTube. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Them Twitter streets too. Be careful, man. They out there gotta bring your bulletproof vest in them Twitter streets.
Well, actually, I'm thinking about putting up a suicide hotline on Twitter
Oh,
just to
stop.
help people talk people off
Stop.
that edge.
We're
I'm
not
just really
doing
glad
this.
Twitter set me straight on what consoles to play, though. It's been great.
Oh, here we go.
Without Twitter, man.
Here we go.
Okay, I take it back. We're gonna open up a suicide hotline, but there's also going to be a hotline for how to grow grass.
Yes, definitely,
Holy
definitely.
shit.
We will
getting
ship
into
you
agriculture.
seeds overnight.
Yeah, we agriculture here
Yeah,
on the Shop Podcast.
you got to fertilize it before you drop the goalpost.
Here we go. Jesus Christ. We ain't even
Get
got
that first mow in.
we ain't even got through the introductions, people. This is what we do. But we have fun on the show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. So Centurion, I didn't want to cut you off, brother.
Oh no, it's all good, man.
All right.
Pretty much that's how I wanted to set the tone right there.
Okay. I see you in your bag this weekend. All right, man. So last but not least, the smooth operator. All right, the sexiest voice on Xbox Live. We did a poll. We did like a stealth poll, and everybody voted. Fuzz had the sexiest voice on YouTube. So I mean, it is what it is. But either way, Fuzz, what's going on with you, brother? How you doing this week?
What's up, everyone? Like Stagger said, thank you, Twitter. I've been doing it wrong for these past few years, and thanks for opening my eyes. Now I'm still on a serious note. I've been just relaxing, looking at some of the new news or leaks and things like that, and getting excited for what's to come in here in the near future. But man, some awesome topics to talk about. Glad to be here with the guys, and yeah, let's get it.
Let's get it. And once again, man, if you hit that like button on your way in, subscribe to the channel, man. It was a lot of growth from last week to this week. So once again, I do want to extend a huge shout out to Dealer, man. That's what we're looking for every week. So retweet that link. Find some new people, man. We're gonna be doing some cool things here. But the show did grow quite a bit from one week to another. So I just appreciate the continued support. Hopefully, you guys are continuing to enjoy the show, and we're going to be trying to do new things here, different things, trying to bring a new set of group in, just different things to keep it fun for you guys, really at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and just get fucking started. So first thing we're talking about, obviously, is the poll of the week, and the poll of the week was fire this week. So I think I got over 600 votes on it, so it was amazing. A lot of people chimed in on the poll and really, really appreciated it. So we're just going to go ahead and start with that, and we do it every single week. Well, I do it every single week. Follow me on Twitter every single Monday morning. You'll catch the poll of the week, and we talk about it on Saturdays here on the Shop Podcast. So this week was which game would you beat first of these games dropped on the same day. So the 3 games that I chose were Halo Infinite, Cyberpunk 2077, and The Last of Us 2. So the poll went kind of how I thought it would go. Halo Infinite was an overwhelming majority at 65%. Cyberpunk 2077 was 26%, and The Last of Us 2 was actually only 10%. That was actually pretty surprising. I thought The Last of Us 2 would get some more love. So I'm going to start with you on this one, Stagger. Would you vote? I think you voted. That'd be like 10 weeks in a row now voting on a poll. But which one did you vote and why, brother?
I mean, Halo. I don't think I need a why. If anybody has seen my office, they will know that a good half of a wall is fucking covered. More than half of a wall. I mean, I got almost every Halo collectible that you could possibly have. Posters. Halo is what got me on Xbox. You know,
is there candles on your shrine?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
I don't. I mean, we don't need to burn my shit down. But I mean, I was an avid GameCube, PlayStation player, Dreamcast. Loved those 3 systems. And when Xbox launched, I was in the camp of no. I was super anti-Xbox. Microsoft being in the gaming sector, and I got lucky, and somebody I knew decided they didn't want to be on Xbox anymore, and sold me their OG Xbox and like 5 or 6 games for like $90, and my headset's going to turn itself off for some odd reason.
You get in an alley like 3 in the morning.
And I played Halo, and I've never looked back. I mean, I've played on other consoles, and I own other consoles, but man, Halo is, aside from like Gears of War, those are, and like Mass Effect, those 3 are my favorite shooters that I've ever played. So it would honestly be like. And really, for like time constraints, man, I know Halo's the Infinite's supposed to be bigger, but like, dude, if Halo and Cyberpunk launch the same day, come on now, you ain't beating Cyberpunk first.
Yeah, sure.
That's gonna take a lot of time, and there's, I mean, from what they're talking about, there's so many branches you can go in that game. I mean, geez, you could lose time.
Isn't it a bit unfair if we're looking at it from that standpoint, though, as content, or no?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, Halo Infinite's supposed to be pretty big too, so I don't think it's going to be nearly as big as a Cyberpunk is. But
that's true.
Yeah, Halo all day, man.
Okay, all right. So you know what the funny thing is, when I made this poll, I didn't actually think Halo would be the I thought it would win for sure, but I didn't think it would be overwhelming. But thinking about Halo and the anticipation coming up, what we've seen from Infinite so far, which is very, very, very little, and the hype that we all have and the excitement that we all have. Now that I think about it, that probably
I just think it would be the easiest completion out of that list, probably.
Well,
the quickest, anyways.
Given
the history of the game.
Given the history, you're right. Given the history, how long the game takes to finish, I think me and who was I talking to this? I was talking to somebody about Halo earlier. We beat this Halo 5 in about 2 days, something like that. Yeah. It was like 2 days. It was last night we were talking. So going along those lines now, I know this is kind of piggybacking off that question, Stag, but the campaign could be a lot longer this time around. We talked about the open world, so that may tip the scales a little bit, but obviously we'll wait to see if that's actually
smashing that campaign though. Like it's one of those. I've gotten more back to like games that I love. I play until I'm done. I don't jump around.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. All right,
like
cool.
I just started playing Control, and everyone's like, "How do you like it?" I'm like, "I played it for 3.5 hours straight last night." That should tell you everything you need to know.
Exactly. That's what you do. So let's go ahead and move on to Centurion Man. So out of those options, brother, I know you voted on a poll this week. So which one did you vote and why out of those 3 options, man?
Before I answer, I have to ask Stagger, are you at least playing Control right? Are you reading everything?
I'm playing it on the wrong system. If that's wrong, I don't know what's right. No, reading everything. I was streaming it last night, and I don't read every last little collectible. Come on now, do people do that in every game? Fuck,
dude, that's how Remedy works. You need to read the stuff to understand what's going on. Otherwise, you're just in some diluted fantasy.
I have to like go through the game and do the missions and kill people and stuff. That's great. It's fun. Like I don't need to read all this stuff. I got games to play, man. Come on now, I got to get through that campaign.
Trust me, read some of it, especially when you get to the rubber duck.
Thanks.
Oh, spoilers.
Spoiler stuff, but there's a lot of collectibles.
I ain't gonna tell him. Trust me, that rubber duck pissed me off.
Got it.
Great,
okay.
Thanks. I'm gonna just throw the game away now.
Oh man, go ahead, Centurion.
No, it makes a difference when you pick when you read about an artifact And then later on in the game, you encounter that artifact and you're like, oh shit, not this thing. Anyways, so what did I vote for? I have to vote for my nostalgic Halo, even though I'm going to be there day one for Cyberpunk, whatever day it comes out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be an awesome game. But like Stagger said, it's going to be a massive game compared to Halo. I'm pretty sure Halo is going to grow. I just don't see them putting as much into the single player campaign as there's going to be in Cyberpunk. That's because true. They have a multiplayer that they also have to provide for. So, but definitely with Halo, I can play it with my friends. I could play it with you guys. You know, there's a lot more there for me when it comes to Halo. And so that was what I voted for. I'm definitely excited for it. I'm just curious on what it's going to be like to fire that thing up on the Series X. Man. You know, because pretty much that's going to launch day and date with the Series X. I mean, literally, you're going to bring your Series X home, hook it up, try to find a spot for it, and then put in Halo.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. We haven't gotten a Halo at launch since, what, the first one? The very first one? Is the last one?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. You're right.
This is definitely huge. And there's some significance to that as well. And that's why I think this Halo is going to be real special. I mean, besides the name Infinite, you know, we talked about open world. We talking about just the versatility of Halo. So yeah, looking at the list, I mean, people are probably going to be playing Halo far longer than the other two. Obviously because of the multiplayer aspect of it, depending on how big that is. As far as story mechanics, things like that, a game like Cyberpunk is going to be massive. And I think Zink said Halo. He thought Halo would be bigger. I doubt Halo is going to be bigger in scope than Cyberpunk, but you never know. It could be. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like that's not a thing or it can't be a thing. But I mean, just traditionally, like Stag alluded to, the game's not, you know.
Well,
I don't know.
To put it out there, the average game size now is roughly around 100 megs, especially if it's a good sized game. And, you know, to make a game as big as Cyberpunk and then to throw a multiplayer on it, I mean, that's going to be a massive, massive sized game.
True. That's true.
And that like we got to remember that, you know, Halo is going to be a cross-gen title. I'm not going to say that the original Xboxes are going to hold it back by any means. I know that they're going to make Halo Infinite something that's going to make the Series X shine. But still at the same time, we got to remember that they're not like going to start cranking out 200 gig games to create these massive experiences. I don't even know if the discs can hold that much. Does anybody know that?
No, I don't know. I'm not,
because I know you could download everything off the network and stuff like that, but they're still limited by what they can fit on the disc.
That's true. That is a good point. So we'll see. We'll see though. Well, we're getting into we're kind of fine tooth combing it here, but that is something that we'll definitely take a look at, and it's just a lot of intriguing shit around the games we're talking about, you know. So we'll definitely see when these games drop. So last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, out of the three options, what did you choose and why, brother?
I picked Cyberpunk, and it's only because it's one of those games I know I'm gonna like. If they were all three were to come out the same day, I'm just gonna probably play that one first. It's nothing against Halo because I still want to play that one, but I know I'm gonna get sucked into Cyberpunk, and I'm probably not gonna put it down until I at least get to close to like what if there's an end game to it type of thing. But I'm at least going to go through enough missions to the point where I have like the blade arms and you know some cool, you know, I guess X-ray vision eyes or whatever the case may be. I'm probably going to put a lot of hours right off the bat into Cyberpunk and probably not pick up another game for probably a month or so. But that's just me. Cyberpunk is the type of game that appeals to me first. Halo, I'm definitely going to want to play it, but I think it's going to be one of those things where, since it's not like a persistent game, kind of like a Destiny or like a Division, where you're going to be a different level. If you don't, you know, you're not going to be able to, you know, keep up with your friends.
We don't know,
if they've already started.
We don't know.
Well, that's
man.
True. That's true.
I don't know if they're going the Destiny route. They may be pushing it too far, but we don't know. So
if they go the Destiny route, then yeah, then I'm gonna have to change my vote. But if they keep it where you don't have to worry about being a different level than your friends or something like that, then I'll probably give Cyberpunk a go first, and then if Halo makes it kind of like a Destiny without as much of the roller coaster ride on the leveling and stuff, then that might be the game that replaces Division for me. So
Okay.
we'll see how that
All right,
goes.
and once again, guys, I picked Halo as well just because of the. I think once again, I just got a feeling about this Halo. I feel like Halo Infinite, everything we've seen so far, I feel like they're pushing. Obviously, coming off of Halo 5, it wasn't the most well received Halo, but I feel like they got a lot to prove that this game is still the biggest game or one of the two or three biggest games when it comes out. So I'm really excited for it. None of those options are wrong. Let's
So
be honest.
you don't see them going the Destiny route?
Please, no. God,
No,
please,
no,
God,
no, no. I
no.
mean, I can't. No, let's not put that
Don't
energy in
ruin
the air
Halo.
at all. Yeah, let's not do that.
Hmm.
I mean, it can work in the.
Well,
You could do it, but I
And
just
if
don't
people are
think.
already mad about Halo
Yeah,
5 and that
like,
campaign, like just imagine the
yeah.
outcry
Oh
of
my
it
goodness.
changing total direction to
Oh
being
my
more of like
goodness.
Destiny loot
Yeah.
and
Good
shooter
lord.
kind of game.
I'm
Come on
not
now.
saying to turn it into a looter shooter by any means. No,
Mhm.
what I meant more like live like game, like looking at games as a service. Like I heard one idea. I forget. I don't know if it was here or somewhere else, but just the idea of imagine being on the Halo ring. You're in one of the one of the structures that's been there for a while. It's all tore down, and you got a platoon of the Covenant kind of going by down below, and you and your homies are up in the buildings, and you can choose to attack that, kind of like in Destiny, where you have a public event
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
where you guys can all of a sudden come together and start trying to take out that platoon or whatever, just to have
Fuzz
things
had that
going on,
idea.
like open world games as a service, not a looter shooter,
No,
but creating
Yeah,
events.
Okay,
yeah,
no,
no,
Fuzz had a similar idea too.
no,
yeah, like for public events, that would be kind of cool. But I would
no.
say not don't make it like a main focus in the story, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that just want to get from not really point A to point
You
B,
can
but
make
get
it
through the
Anthem.
campaign and
Well,
Uh-oh.
and whatnot.
We
But as
got to
far as
sneak it
like if
in.
there's persistent things, like just additional modes or things to add to it,
you could
maybe. But
easily build the world open world and go to your next mission, which is off over here on the map and all that
hmm,
good jazz, and just have some things that pop up here and there that kind of entice you and your friends to get together and explore around.
Yeah, no, I mean that's it. It just has to be done in the right way because anything, I mean, just the way these games get broken down now, you got to be careful with a franchise like Halo and
yeah,
throwing those elements in, and really you have to be careful because I mean, you did coming off the last one, it wasn't the most well received. Now I don't care about
I
numbers
liked
at
it.
the end of the day. I liked the game as well. I loved it. I beat it a few times, a few different times. So. I didn't have an issue with the game, but a franchise like Halo, you got to be real careful with stuff like that. But I mean, it could be what Halo needs. You never know. So we'll definitely see. And that's the biggest thing about Halo Infinite is that none of us know what the fuck's going on. No leaks, no anything. We have no idea the direction that they're going with this new Halo. So we definitely see. But great opening topic, man. Let's go ahead and keep it pushing, man. And once again, appreciate everybody for us, watching us live. If you're not watching us live, make sure you share that link as well on Twitter so that more people can see it and come in the show and get their gaming fix as well. Hit the like button on your way in as well. Say hello to everybody in the chat as well. So let's go ahead and just bounce over to the next topic. So we just got done talking about Cyberpunk, so this is a great segue. So Cyberpunk recently got pushed back. Now I know this is not new information, but we really hadn't gotten a chance to go over it on the show here. So I wanted to give my panel here a chance to get their not ideas, but just get their thoughts about Cyberpunk getting pushed back and what do you think that means for the game essentially. So we're gonna start with you, Fuzz, since we ended with you on this one. So Cyberpunk getting pushed back. Obviously, we should be used to this by now. You would
yeah.
think. This is not something that anybody at this point in time, this day and age, or this point in the gen, should be any surprised about it all, in my opinion. But overall, what is your opinion on a game like Cyberpunk that's super massive, that's doing something completely different, getting pushed back? So, what do you think about when you heard the news?
I'm kind of torn, and I'll explain why. I'm as a fan, super hyped for the game. Was hoping it would come out in April, like originally thought, and was really looking forward to it. But kind of saddened, disappointed. But the realistic aspect is, if they're pushing it back, it's for the best in most cases. So I would assume that there's going to be things that they're going to polish, fix, make sure that we don't have the uproar of people complaining about, oh, this mission is bugged and I can't complete this storyline, or I've lost all my progress. things like that. It's better that they push it back, fix it, test it again, push it to its limits before releasing it to the public, and then having it where the public is disappointed. I mean, I know we've talked about this on other games and things, but we can't have our cake and eat it too. It's
Yeah,
like we can't complain about broken games and at the same time complain about the
games getting
games
pushed
getting
back.
pushed back.
hmm
So
Especially this size, this caliber, and the size of this game, and how ambitious it is. You got to understand, this is something nobody's doing. Like this is something we never seen before. The level of detail. We already seen the small videos and samples of what they have coming for us, and what's in store for us, and that's just a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of the pie. So just to
And I'm
piggy,
curious how many lines of dialogue that game's
oh
gonna
Lord
have.
have mercy, it's gonna be insane. So I get what you're saying, Fuzz, and kind of piggyback off what you're saying. What do you think? So obviously you would think that they're doing the reason the game got pushed back, in your opinion, was because they're just ironing out the details. Correct? Is that where you were going with that?
yeah, but I also have maybe a hidden, not I wouldn't say hidden agenda thing that might be going on in the background. Uh, just been talking with some people about. Well, I can't remember if you guys. I think it was you guys that made mention before about the an X1X console
hmm
coming out. So maybe with things being a timing issue, hey, well, can you push it back so we can have this launch at the same time and from a marketing standpoint, have that all be
Okay.
spot on. But I think it's more so just to make sure because CD Projekt Red is all about the quality of their games. They want to be the standout as far as not having broken games, not having loot boxes, not fleecing their customers, basically delivering or over delivering on their quality of games. So I think that's the primary reason, but there could be some other side things
True.
like they said, some DLC and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There could be a various different reasons, but this is something that with a game this size, a game this as far as quality, with the type of studio CD Projekt Red that you're talking about, we're not talking Ubisoft here where they're just gonna throw some shit out, or EA they're just gonna throw it out half baked. We're talking The Witcher 3, probably game of the decade. Some people would even say.
mhm.
They definitely have a standard to uphold. So I wasn't surprised to hear that information at all. Because once again, we don't know what they're putting in a game. They talked about maybe adding multiplayer or some type of aspect to the game as well. So they could be working on that. Maybe that's why they pushed it out. So you just never know. But like he said, we can't have our cake and eat it too, people. We can't, get mad when these games get pushed back, and then same time get mad when they're broken when they come out. So we'll go ahead and move on to Stag on this one, man. So what do you think about Cyberpunk being pushed back? What was your first thought when you heard about the news?
I didn't care.
Oh, okay. Well,
No, I mean, like, just honestly, like, as we've noticed in the last, what, 2, 3, 4 weeks, first it was, what, Avengers, or was it Final Fantasy that got pushed, and everybody
it was
was like,
Final Fantasy.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Final Fantasy got pushed to when Cyberpunk was supposed to be released, and then, it was like, well, now you don't have to worry about that, because, now that's coming out, and Cyberpunk got pushed back, and Avengers got pushed back, and think there's one other game I can't remember off the top of my head right now that got pushed back. But honestly, I kind of expected this with the next gen coming, like you were alluding to
hmm
previously, just because it makes sense. Like, why, and polishing the games. But, like, with these new consoles coming out, and especially, with the backwards compatibility features, and Xbox saying, games are going to run on new gen and old gen, that maybe not only do they want to polish the game that they currently have, but they want to make sure it runs well on both. I know that
Yeah.
downscaling, upscaling, and all that stuff is with the x86 changes things. The graphical leaps are they're different, but it's easier to do now than it was different
hmm
generations. And there's also that thing that came out where I'm probably stealing some of Centurion here, but doesn't run very well
What about
on
me?
PS4. Just wait and listen, and you'll hear.
Okay.
That rumor thing that came out that it was that Cyberpunk wasn't running as good as they wanted it to on either console, the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. So, and then they came out and said, well, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but if the game's not running great, it's a lot of There's a lot going on in that game from everything we've heard. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's a lot going on in Witcher 3.
I actually have a statement from CD Projekt Red right here on my phone.
Yeah, I bet you do. But it's just, and I've probably seen it too, where they've, but we'll let you get to that. I am in the camp of delay a game, make it better. I mean, I put a poll up on my Twitter about it this week, and it overwhelmingly was voted to make the game great when you release it, instead of having a game that's broken and needs to be fixed. I mean, we all know from previous games that were released in the last year or even further that if it launches broken and it gets a bad reception, it's damn near impossible to recover from that.
Yeah, there's some very few. There's few games that have the Destinies. Some games have not. But yeah, there's the Rainbow Sixes. But you got to be in a very, very unique position. But I think if anybody, and honestly, I mean, we're talking CD Projekt Red here. My first thought obviously was quality. That should have been anybody's first thought. Okay, look at the studio we're talking about. They don't drop broken games. The Witcher 3 had zero bugs as far as I knew. I've never seen anybody saying, "Hey, The Witcher 3 is buggy." So I think it's just a quality thing from that perspective. I just don't think they want the game to come out broken. They may be making some small
changes to add more content too.
That too. There's always that. Content is what a game is going to be massive. We all know that. I mean, they already had what was this, like 8, 9, 10 months ago? Probably a year ago at this particular point. They gave us a whole hour worth of damn video. And that's a year ago. So, I imagine where it's at now. And that was, once again, there was a disclaimer, things may not be the same. You're watching this video now, may be completely different later on. So let's go ahead and get to you, Centurion. What do you think about Cyberpunk being pushed back? And what was your initial thought when you heard about it?
And my initial thought was, I think it was kind of curious that they pushed the game back. I thought it was because of the new generation of consoles to kind of push the idea of creating a cross-gen title, because it's coming out in September. So September, October, November. Holidays. So I was thinking they were going to really push that issue. Did I really think that it wasn't working right on the consoles? Yes and no, because it's kind of like a double-sided argument for me. One, the limitations of the consoles that were available to you. I know in certain cases, especially in talking to, I believe it was Optimus Code or somebody that was on Salty's show this Thursday. He basically pointed out that some of these developers were privy to when the Series X was going to come out. But when Cyberpunk 2077 was originally talked about, I believe that was like 2013, 2014. So you knew the limitations of the consoles that you were going to create.
Yeah.
I think what happened was over time, they just got very ambitious and created a lot of things that made the game a little bit more advanced than they thought they would. But now everybody was feeding into this rumor. This was the statement that I was talking to you guys about. It looks like it's from Philip Weber, senior Quest designer. He was talking about, it starts off, I don't know exactly what Corey Barlog said about Cyberpunk, but he did say, Corey Barlog hit the nail on the head. Of course, we're optimizing for Xbox One and for the PlayStation and the PC, because that's what you do in the last stretches of game development. While the game is made, lots of things are unoptimized because they're all in flux, changing, and still not finished. So the simple answers, like they delayed the game because of X, and they were just, X is like not meaning the Xbox, it was just, is in blank, made it for a good rumor, but don't hold a lot of truth. There's always many reasons. Among them, I can speak for myself, simply fixing bugs so the game is as polished as possible. No hidden agendas, just working on making the game better.
Oh, so he pretty much answered the question.
Yeah, he pretty much came out and just basically said that they're working on optimizing. Of course, the game probably doesn't run very well on the older consoles because it needs to be optimized. But if we look at the magicians that work at CD Projekt Red, they got The Witcher to work on the Switch. I have no doubts whatsoever that they are going to be able to optimize this game. And yes, it might not be the greatest experience in the world on the original Xbox One Fat, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to be a great experience for those who own the console, and it's going to be a mind-blowing experience for those who own the X.
Yeah, and once again, we're not doing the three. We're not ringing any bells, no fire alarms or anything for this particular topic. So we just wanted to cover it. Once again, I don't think any of us here, at least I can speak for us on the podcast. I don't think any of our thoughts immediately went to, oh shit, there's something going on with the game, because obviously as CD Projekt Red, we understand the quality. So that's not something that I think anybody here or anybody with a rational train of thought would immediately default to. So I'm glad that you came out and read the quote as well, because that basically sums up what's going on with the game. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. So I want to stop and say thank you to everybody here watching this live. I know I've said it already, but I will continue to do so throughout the show. You guys are fucking amazing, helping the channel grow. Remember, subscribe, hit the retweet, hit the like button, the thumbs up button as well here. Hit the bell,
Hit that
the
retweet button
notification
too,
button.
though.
Yeah, make sure hit the retweet button on Twitter as well. Make sure everybody knows what's going on here on the Shop Podcast, man. Come get that gaming fix, man. We got a lot going on here. So let's move on. So this is actually really exciting. And I'm going to start with you on this one, Fuzz, because I'm not sure if you saw the article or not. I know you traditionally do your research when I send you guys the topic. So we're going to be talking a little bit about Xcloud. And now Xcloud it's been kind of weird. It's because so when Xcloud was first talked about or first brought out, I thought it was going to turn into the whole, because you know how when cloud was like this buzzword for a couple years and everybody's like, well, there's no actual cloud, we haven't seen any results from it. We're starting to see results from this Xcloud. So recently there was an article, or at least an article that came out saying that there was some really, really positive testing done in other territories. I believe one of them was like Korea, South Korea, something like that. We'll have to figure out where the actual the link to the title, link to the actual information is that. I'll get it out to you guys on Twitter. But either way, they had some really, really, really positive testing. So we talked about this being essentially their vehicle to get in other territories. So there's a two-part question. One, how do you guys feel about seeing this thing or hearing this thing working in the other territories that Xbox aren't traditionally big in, as well as what do you guys think, or what do you guys think this does for Xboxes? We talked about them having this kind of feather in their cap as far as Xcloud, them having the infrastructure to do it, as well as the money and the means. So what do you think that puts them at if this thing is successful as these tests indicate? So we're going to start with you on that one, Fuzz.
Well, I think the biggest thing now is they need to eventually get to a point where they can launch it, to the public. But it's good to see that they're expanding the regions. It's good to see that they're, testing in different markets and stuff. And that's, if they want to reach the quote unquote 2 billion gamers, that's pretty much the best way to do it. I think they, what was it? India was one of the areas that they expanded. I think there was other parts of Canada that they expanded, and a few other regions, like you said, like with Korea and stuff. And right now, I just look forward for them announcing, I guess, the full release, hopefully at E3 or something like that. But yeah, it's good that they're continuing to add titles, add regions, and hopefully put this thing through its paces before it's launched to the public. But I'm pretty sure any of us that aren't in the insider program are anxious to get our hands on it for the public launch. So
do you have it already?
No,
Okay.
I signed up for insider program, but with the issues I'm having with my X1X, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole right now.
Yeah.
So I'm tempted to put it on my kids' Xbox and go from there, since I'm doing the game share with them. But yeah, they're the only ones with Android phones. I don't think they've done the iOS or the expanded to Apple products yet.
iOS is still in testing.
Yeah,
they're still in like the behind the scenes beta.
Yeah, so I won't be able to get hands on. So it'll be like, okay, I'll put it on my kids' Xbox, and it'll only be on their phones, and I'll still continue to miss out. But for the most part, yeah, I'm looking for them to continue doing this expansion as far as regions and things, so that way I know it's fully vetted by the time it's released to the public.
So hearing that, and it's kind of a third question, and we'll move on to Stag and Centurion. Hearing that, Fuzz, where does that put you with where they're at now compared? I know they've been testing this thing for probably at least a couple of years now, maybe even longer. Where does that Where do you think that? Or hearing that, where does that put you as far as progress? Where do you think how far along they are? Where does that put you at?
I think, considering how vocal they are about the testing and stuff, I think they're pretty close to wrapping things up as far as releasing it to the public. I mean, they're I would say far better or far more along than what Google is, even with Stadia being released to the public at the current moment. But yeah, I would say they're less than a year, less than 6 months away, more than likely.
Okay, cool. Good timeline. Good timeline. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this one over to you, Centurion. Just hearing about the positive news as far as them doing the Xcloud testing in other territories, and we talked about this being a vehicle and a easier way to get them in other parts in other countries and that they usually don't do well in. So what do you think about just the positive information that we've been getting about it lately?
Well, for starters, let's keep in mind that Xbox is sold in about half the regions that PlayStation is. If I'm correct, PlayStation is sold in about 90 some regions. Xbox, I believe, is somewhere around 40 to 50 regions
That's
that they're
about
sold
right.
in. And it's more than just, the fact that nobody wants them. There's some geographical issues involved as well. But that's where they're trying to I think they're really trying to make a major play on the Asian market, which is a heavy mobile gaming market. Even let's put it this way, Switch killed it over there in Asia because of how mobile the platform is. It even, if I'm correct, beat out PlayStation in a very quick amount of time because of how mobile it is. And that's where, Xbox is trying to give the mobile market that console experience to expose them to the ecosystem, because how could people want an Xbox if they've never experienced Xbox?
Good point.
So definitely, now hearing Fuzzy talk about Xcloud, I actually have access to Xcloud on my Galaxy. I was picked to participate in the beta.
Nice.
And now the only thing is, don't take my opinion for it. It could be my situation, but if I'm not using it on my home Wi-Fi, it falls on its face. But I think that's purely because of the limitations of the Galaxy 9. That's why I'm kind of like wanting to use my wife's S10 to try it out, because I know the S10 is 5G ready, where the 9 is actually a 4G phone. So I'm just really curious if I changed the platform, if it will do better, because I've had some issues with lag and stuff like that. But don't get me wrong, it's a really great concept. I've taken it with me to the hotel and brought only my controller with me. Stagger knows about that. When he went out with his wife on their anniversary, all he had to do was bring a controller.
I didn't even end up using it.
I probably played mine for about 30 minutes.
I was a little bit busy.
Well, there we go.
Sleeping.
And the show went off the rails. Anyways,
I was sleeping. No kids, bro. I took a nap.
Quiet time, peaceful. Yeah.
Right? Any of us with kids know, like, oh shit, hotel room? We ain't fucking, we're sleeping.
Yeah, War Chicken's even saying in public his S10 runs smoothly. So I'm pretty sure it's just my phone. I don't want people to sit there and be like, oh, Centurion said Xcloud sucks. No,
he did.
I'm saying my situation, it hasn't been all that great, but that's probably because of the limitations of my phone. But it's only going to get better, especially as they roll out 5G, and hopefully my Galaxy gets a 5G update. If not, I'm going to have to just get a new phone come November of this year. But anyways, I think it's a really awesome idea. I'm glad that they're rolling it out, because it's going to give markets access to the Xbox ecosystem. Because, it's kind of funny. Everybody's like, oh, Xbox sucks, they have no games. Well, why not pay $15 and come find out? Because that's how much it's gonna cost. We're gonna it's like Game Pass Ultimate for $15. So you pay your $15, you come in, try out a couple of games, play some multiplayer, and you never know. You might get some people that are gonna be like, you know what, I want the full experience. So I'm gonna go out and get an Xbox.
And that's what it's about. But we talked about that last week in great length with Dealer as well. It's about getting people in the ecosystem. Get you in the door. Anything can happen when I get you in the door. You may see one thing that you like, and that may lead to another thing, which may lead to another thing. So that's what it's about. It's about exposing the ecosystem to as many people as possible, or other people that traditionally wouldn't buy a Xbox console. as a home console. So, like you said, this is another way to get the brand in front of their face, another way to get the ecosystem as far as Xbox Live in their face, give them that experience. And like you said, they may want to say, you know what? I think I'm gonna go get an Xbox just to try this on like my TV or my setup at the house. So that's a great point you just made.
Well, like I said, it's also there's geographic issues with getting consoles into certain countries, and because of shipping and export fees and all this other stuff, we're over here crying about a $500-600 console, where in some countries, due to all the stuff to get it there, it could be astronomically more than that. So it makes it economically impossible to sell the console in those countries. And now you're giving them an option that's going to be way cheaper to actually come in and experience the Xbox ecosystem. This is going to do nothing but make the neighborhood bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. I want to make sure you get in here too. But what do you think? So I know you said you had it. It runs well on your phone.
I've had a couple instances where, I typically use it. I don't use it a lot. Mm-hmm. But when I do, I'm sitting outside of my kids' jiu-jitsu for 2 hours and I'm bored and I'm fucking mad at Gears Pop because of cheaters. So I just switch on over to, you said export fees to other countries. It's import fees, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Import exports, it all sucks and it's a money grab.
Yeah. Well, hey, got to pay the tax, bro. But for the most part, like I think it's great to get it into other markets. I mean, you guys hit it on the head when you were talking about, the Asian markets are going to be huge. We've talked about it before. I mean, mobile gaming is a big thing in a lot of those Asian countries. That's what's great, and if you can get people into your ecosystem for what I think is going to end up being a $20 a month service fee. I think it's going to go up when they roll out everything that they want with it. I mean, Netflix went up. They all go up eventually. It's just a matter of time. I don't think it'll be initially, but I definitely feel probably at least after a year of having Xcloud full launch, the new systems, Game Pass PC, and Xbox Gold, all 4 of those wrapped into one. I'm comfortable paying $20 a month for the amount of content we're going to get. It works pretty much really good all the time. I did have some problems, like I was talking in front of my jiu-jitsu studio one night. I just couldn't get a game to load for nothing, and the weather was really shitty. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but I was having a hard time getting a signal with my phone. And I don't know the Wi-Fi password in the gym, so maybe if I would have gotten that, it would have been a little bit better. I've had no problems playing in there before. I do really enjoy it. I made a post about it on Twitter the other day that not only has Xcloud but Game Pass as well, for that $15 fee has opened me up to. I mean, I play a lot of everything anyways, but I was playing Train Simulator on my phone 2 days ago, and I would not pay money for that fucking game, and I probably wouldn't have played it if it wasn't on Xcloud and I had the opportunity to just be like, hey, sure, I'm bored, I'll check this out. Now that doesn't mean I'm gonna go out and buy any like train simulator games or really that whole genre of gaming, but I really like playing Battle Chasers. I don't remember the whole title of the game, but I love playing that on my phone with my controller while I'm waiting for jiu-jitsu. Now, I have never played it on console, and I don't plan on it. It's like one of those games where I'm like, this is what I'm going to play on Xcloud while I'm waiting, and I enjoy it there. So it's given me more opportunities to try out different stuff, and it's like, hey, this works for me on this, not a different platform, but different area of where I can play it. You know what I mean? Like, it's still in the ecosystem, but I'm playing it on my phone as a platform instead of my console as the platform, so I can play my shooters. I haven't tried Destiny or anything like that, or the Halo. I tried Madden when it first launched, and it was crap. Like, I got so many delay game penalties. I was just like, all right, I'm out of here, because it was just really bad day one. I've tried it again since, and it played great. I think, man, when they nail it down, I mean, it's already really good, and it's just in preview. And I've seen some threads where people are saying Stadia's better or Xcloud's better, and it's like, well, Stadia is a full launch, Xcloud's in beta. I don't really think you can compare the two programs right now, so until Xcloud is 100% launched out of preview I think the comparisons are unfair. You know,
There's still people that are beating that stupid drum that Stadia is in beta, that it's a beta, and I'm like, why did they have a Founders Edition when they launched?
Yeah, I mean they it's not complete, and we all knew it wasn't complete when it launched, but they still launched it as quote unquote this is a service that everyone can access.
Yeah.
Preview program for Xcloud is, you know, you have to be accepted in. You know, it's not open to everybody. It's getting open to more and more people, but it's not like, hey, just jump on. I mean, they did open it up. I know they opened it up more recently. I know that I don't want to like say it's not, you have to be invited in now, because I know they just recently changed that a little bit. I just don't remember the specifics, and somebody in chat's going to correct me, so I'm just waiting for it.
Awesome.
More markets, more ecosystem. It's going to be great for Xbox, and it's only going to help their bottom line.
Absolutely, and this is something we've been talking about coming to fruition for a while. You know, this is something that's going to change the way we look at video games. You know, I'm not necessarily saying they're banking on this, but this is part of the plan. You know, that Xbox has going into this next generation. Let's have all these different services we can provide. There's really going to be no reason to say, hey, I don't have Xbox to Xbox. I don't have access to Xbox anywhere. Like I don't. They're going to take every reason for you not to be able to play an Xbox game away. They're literally going to take every single reason away and say, hey, you have access whether you're home, whether you're at work. It doesn't matter what you do, and you can still be in the ecosystem and play. So very, very, very bold strategy. We'll definitely see how it all plays out. We'll see how it works out. But I mean, there's been some mixed reviews on it, but once again, we'll see as this thing matures. So let's go ahead and move on to the last topic. You guys have been fucking amazing today. Hit the like button on your way in. I know some people have already said they're heading out for the night. So shout out to everybody who is already heading out. Appreciate you guys showing some love. So last but not least, and I think this is the most exciting topic out of the ones we've covered so far. So we're talking some Ninja Theory shit, and this was completely left field for most of us. None of us knew at least none of us that claim to not be or claim to be insiders knew about this essentially. So they do have a new project or new game called Project Mara that they are working on. Now this game is a horror game. I didn't really read any articles regarding it. I did take a brief look at it, but I'm extremely excited to hear that they're working on multiple different games. I knew that they were a big studio, but I had no idea that they're doing Hellblade. They're also doing Bleeding Edge, as well as this game. So I don't know what platform. Obviously, we know the Xbox, but I assume this one's going to be on the Series X. A full exclusive on the Series X built from the ground up, but we'll see. But I wanted to get you guys your opinion on when you guys heard about it. What was your initial thought? And we'll start with you on this one, Fuzz. When you heard about the Project Mara, what'd you think, man?
I was pretty excited, considering the, Ninja Theory being one of those studios that some of the outsiders or those that don't really care for Xbox are saying, oh, they're not that great of a studio, and it's like, oh, they won't really do anything. It's like, well, now we got Hellblade 2 in the works. Now we got Bleeding Edge, and I know, some people, downplayed that, but can't wait for that to launch. And then now that they have another project in the works, I guess this is part of that big plan that we were talking about with Xbox Studios having, some sort of game release every quarter type of deal. So with having multiple projects in the oven, I'm anxiously looking forward to it. Watching the preview video, I mean, yeah, it's just a small snippet, but pretty interesting. Although I definitely want to see more, and I'm hoping that we get a little bit deeper dive into it, maybe at E3.
Oh, and I didn't even go over the description that they said. It's supposed to be like a psychological, like horror game that really taps into real life, like mental horrors. I don't know if sounds like they did like a bunch of studying of like real actual, I don't know, a bunch of scientific shit. So, but either way, go ahead and continue.
Well, considering what they did with Hellblade, the first one with Senua, with her hearing voices and things like that, and her perspective as far as how she's seeing things versus how they really are, I think they probably with movies you get consultants and things like that, and I know some of the bigger video games, even though Hellblade was done on like a smaller scale compared to most other games out there, they probably consulted with those in the mental health industry, and they probably liked a lot of the. Well, I wouldn't say liked a lot of the stuff that they encountered, but it definitely piqued some interest and maybe gave them some other ideas that they couldn't really work into Hellblade, and I think that's what we're going to see in this. And considering how well they did the audio aspect as far as Senua hearing different voices. I'm really curious to see how this works out. I mean, that game with headphones was amazing, let's just say, and something like this where it's going to be a horror game. I would be curious to see how many jump scares or flinches just from things sneaking up on you and having that audio where you might hear it coming up behind you or before you open a door type of thing. I don't know exactly what type of gameplay loop they're going to set up, but it's definitely, if Hellblade was any inkling of the mental illness aspects of things, I would say this is going to be full bore. Like, it's probably going to be like a game of the year candidate just for the fact that it's going to make people either think or look at things differently because of it. So I'm really anxious to see if this is next year's release or if this might be like 3 or 4 years from now. But in any event, I can't wait to see more, hopefully at E3.
I wouldn't say they're taking... I mean, I wouldn't say this game is coming out anytime soon. It doesn't necessarily need to. With Hellblade 2 in the hole, Bleeding Edge coming out, they can... That's about 2-3 years worth of... And we don't know when Hellblade's coming out either. So, so that's another thing. But I don't... Just to know, for me, that they're working on 3 completely separate projects is amazing. I mean, I don't remember the size of the studio. I know they're a fairly large studio, but this goes to show you that when Xbox picked the studios that they were able to bring into the fold, they specifically picked these studios based on the talent that they have and the capability and the types of games that Xbox is missing in its portfolio. These are the kind of games that Xbox doesn't make generally. Yeah. They don't have these kinds of games, so it's fitting right in, and it's going to bolster that lineup essentially. So let's go ahead and talk about this with Stag. What you think when you first heard about Project Mara? Obviously, we don't know. We know really nothing about it besides it being a horror game that kind of goes into mental aspects of like mental health, things like that. But what did you think about when you first heard that they were going to be doing or they are doing it? Sorry.
I'm not playing it just because I used to do Scare Stagger streams on Saturday night and. Man, I don't think my heart can take that shit anymore, to be honest with you. I know people love watching this grown-ass, tattooed, bearded man jump and cry like a little baby, but man, I'm good. What I do love, though, not only are they working on 3 games, they're working on really 3 completely different kind of games. Yep. I mean, like, the Hellblade and Mara definitely hit the same-ish subject matter, but Bleeding Edge is totally fucking different than those 2 games. I mean, and it's a multiplayer, shooter, whatever, fucking battle royale type of whatever. And then Hellblade is very, just the time frame that it's set in is completely different than what we're seeing from Mara. And what I love that I saw was when they posted that picture of them on the stairs and then the picture below that of the game. And how amazing and realistic it looked like. And that's just like, I mean, who knows if my impression is they're showing us what next gen graphics are going to look like and what scene sets are going to look like and how realistic and amazing things are going to be, not only on Xbox Series X, but, PlayStation 5 and those really high end PCs and upscaling games and stuff. Like you could almost not tell which one was different, and I'm excited about that. I think it's awesome that a studio of their size is pushing out this quality and this narrative that small studios can't make top tier games. They're just shredding that idea by putting out top tier fucking games. I mean, I don't know how people are running around saying that Hellblade isn't a AAA title. I mean,
they did that on a small budget, the first one, and look at how many awards and how critically acclaimed it was.
This narrative that budget makes the title what it is. I'm sorry, and it's the same thing with like people saying indie games are a certain thing. It's like you don't even understand the definition of what an indie title is. It doesn't mean graphics and gameplay or anything like that. It's an independent developer. That's what an indie game is. You know what I mean? And technically by that standards, Cyberpunk's going to be an indie title, folks. I just want y'all motherfuckers to know it's got a AAA budget.
Blasphemy.
Quote unquote, but it is an indie title. Same with like the Sniper Elite series. Great game, great graphics, great fucking gameplay, but it is an indie title because it's an independent developer that makes their own stuff and doesn't have EA, Microsoft. I mean, now granted, Ninja Theory's got the backing now, so but you can't call them an independent studio anymore. Don't mention remasters. We had a big argument in my Discord about remasters recently. But I think it's great. Like I love that they are. I talked about this on Boom's podcast on Thursday, that they're hitting topics that have been hit by games before, but really diving into it, considering this is going to be their third project now. I mean, Hellblade 1, Hellblade 2, and now Project Mara, that's really hitting the mental health of people. And that's as we see what's going on in the world around us, especially in the States, there's a lot of mental health issues that just aren't being addressed. And I love the fact that they're touching it and they're diving into it. I think it's a good thing. I think it gives their profitability and their success at doing it is giving other developers and people that want to make games, that aren't making games, that have thought about making stuff like that, a chance to jump into that territory without the fear of losing everything.
And they said that. And they talked about that when they were purchased by Xbox. You can go watch the video. It's on YouTube. They were purchased by Microsoft. How this takes away the financial fear that they had by making the first Hellblade. I mean, there were second mortgages on houses and shit just to get the game made.
It could have flopped, yeah.
Yeah, it could have flopped, and that would have been the end of Ninja Theory. No more Ninja Theory at all.
Nobody likes being, I don't want to say lectured. There's a different word I'm looking for, but it's hard for people to deal with those kind of things and have to actually have them. Nobody wants to be preached to, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't feel like they're doing that, but it's a touchy fucking subject. Mental health is. It really, really is. Yeah. So that it's being touched upon is great. It's just not, hey, pew pew, we're shooting shit or we're playing soccer or football. We're actually like trying to make some level of an impact and open some eyes. I love that.
I love that too. That's an aspect that people probably won't give it credit for, but I love that too, even with the first Hellblade. So that's fucking amazing. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. We're gonna wrap everything up with you, brother. So what do you think about Project Mara when you heard it? What was your initial response?
Well, my initial response was when I saw the graphics, like Stagger was talking about that staircase. Was it Stagger or Fuzzy that was talking about the staircase?
It was Fuzz. No, Stag. Sorry, Stag.
That blew my mind. I was trying to figure out, like, did they film this or did they create it? But man, I feel like Stagger stole all my thoughts.
Yes, I love doing this every week.
Great minds think alike there, bud.
Okay.
I do like the fact that they're a developer that's willing to tackle the issue of mental illness. And not only are they going to tackle that issue, they're not going to sit there and throw all this fantasy and all this stuff. They're going to show people exactly what it's like to be in that mental state. Forgive me. The first Hellblade is actually in my backlog because it's a mile long. But I've watched some stuff on it, and that's what intrigued me to actually buy the game. I own Hellblade. I'm not game passing it. But definitely, I like the fact that not only is Ninja Theory pushing the boundaries when it comes to what you can create with a game. Microsoft is pushing the boundaries by buying studios like them. Like I've always said, Microsoft wants to grow their studios into being the next Insomniac, the next Kojima Studios, all that stuff. They want these studios to set the bar, and Ninja Theory is one of those studios. Like right now, we're seeing them grow. I'm kind of curious what they're going to look like in 5 years. Could they be up there with some of the big dogs of gaming just because they're able to push the genre of gaming to a whole nother level? And this also speaks to the capabilities of the Series X, because everybody's talking about, like there's going to be no exclusives and stuff like that for the first few years. Well, of course, because these games were already in development. So, but this gives us a sneak peek of what we're going to look forward to when it comes to the exclusive games of the Series X. And David Preen even talked about how the Series X and the PS4 are going to create new genres of gaming, and pushing the boundaries of what they're doing with Project Mara, I really feel is like a new genre of gaming. Everybody's loves horror games, but it's always been like jump scares and stuff like that. They're wanting to take it to another level where you're on edge. Yeah. And I feel like a game, like I'm reaching deep, but I feel like I haven't seen a game that wants to play on insanity since Eternal Darkness.
I was going to say the same thing.
You should play Home Sweet Home.
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, this game's dude. I'm just going to say dude.
Like totally, dude.
The last game I played on Scare Stagger, and there's a reason I don't do it anymore. That game scared the shit out of me.
You see, I feel bad for you, Staggered. I could see why you don't want to play scary games, because you also have kids that might take advantage of that.
Oh, dude, my kid, the last 2 nights I've been streaming late at night, and he walks in my room, and I have visibly jumped.
Yeah, well, I would be that kid. I'd be like, watch, I'm going to scare him. I know
he just walks in
right now.
That's hilarious.
I don't need that shit in my life, man.
I'm sorry.
I don't.
I would probably be that guy that just wait until you're really into it and then just walk up to your door and just bang on it as hard as I could.
Horrible. You're horrible.
I do like to suffer for everyone though once in a while, so I probably will do another one soon. But anyways, go on, sir.
Anyways, yeah, no, I'm really, man, what could I want? I'm enjoying what I've seen out of Hellblade. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing out of Bleeding Edge. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing out of Project Mara. I really feel like Ninja Theory is going to be one of my top studios going forward into next gen, because they're creating some titles I'm really looking forward to. And man, I can't, I feel like at the beginning of this gen, I would have been the guy that would have been like, oh yeah, Bethesda's doing great, Ubisoft is doing great, all these guys are doing great. But now we're getting towards the end of the gen, and I feel like complacency has taken hold with some of these developers. And now the little guys like Ninja Theory and some other, out of left field developers are really getting a foothold in the market. And I feel like they're really going to carve out a really good name for themselves.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think people were still like, I don't know why people weren't sold, on Ninja Theory when Xbox made that purchase and said, look, we're going to bring these guys into the fold. There's no reason. Look at the history, the pedigree of games, the type of games that they're capable of making. I mean, we don't know what Project Mara specifically is going to play like. We haven't seen really any gameplay or anything, but I mean, just look what they did with Hellblade. I mean, come on, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, really, at the end of the day, with just the type of games they've been able to put out. The quality's there, the commitment to the ideas there, and I think a lot of studios fall short because they don't commit to the original idea. Ninja Theory is not one of those studios.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead. I was
wanting to just say, like what Stagger said about the whole AA and AAA and budget stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the funny part. I'm a big movie buff. I've said this many a times. I love the entertainment industry. When I talk about the movie Saw, what is the first one you think? What is the first thing you think of when it comes to all the Saw movies? What would you say was the best one?
Oh, well, I haven't seen all of them.
I like the first one the most.
The
other one's kind of
the first one. And the thing is, what people don't realize about the first Saw movie is because I actually met the producer to Fade to Black where I work, and he actually explained something to me about how that movie worked. He's like, it was very low budget. The entire movie was essentially filmed in that bathroom.
That was the best part of that movie, though, was the interaction between those two and then the reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he basically explained, if you can do something awesome with a small budget, imagine what you can do with a large budget. The only problem is we've seen what happened with Saw when they basically got all this money and then they're doing stupid things. Writing goes out the window. They're now trying for that shock and awe, like the shock value of everything. And that's where I feel like just putting a price tag on a game or a couple of A's does not speak for the quality of that game. Because I have seen great things come out of companies that had a small budget, and I have seen some pretty crappy things come out of a company with an unlimited budget. Let's look at what has happened to the Star Wars franchise. Those guys had an open checkbook.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right, and I mean, there's really not much to say about that because, like you said, that doesn't define the game. And something that we preach on this show, that's something that we talk about all the time on this show. We got guys who play a little bit of everything, here on the show as well. So that was a great. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like you were mentioning, we don't know what kind of game Mara's gonna be.
Yeah.
Long shot, not talking shit. What I think it's going to be is a very high end graphical. Don't fucking kill me here, but I think it's going to be one of them like story-driven walking simulators, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think that's what that game is going to end up being. It's going to be a horror game with a very strong narrative. You walk through the buildings and you experience the stuff and you experience the story. That's what I think that game's going to be. But I could be totally wrong. But I'm gonna fucking just throw it out now, and that's what I think it's gonna be.
It definitely gives off those vibes.
Back.
It definitely gives off those vibes, just based on the pictures and things that we've seen, and the way they explain it. It definitely gives off those vibes. So we will wait and see, everybody. But that is going to wrap up the podcast for this Saturday. You guys have been fucking amazing, man. You guys are fucking fantastic. Can't say enough of you guys every single week. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out as well. Appreciate you guys so much. We will be back here, same place, same time next week. But I will let my compatriots here let everybody know where they can find them, so that way you guys are aware where to catch us at throughout the week. So we'll start with you, Stag. Let everybody know where they can find you. What you got going on this week, brother?
I mean, as always, you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, under Staggerilla, and those random evening streams on Mixer, and that's just Stagger there. I'm looking at doing more on Mixer, but just in the evenings, and probably them PS4 bangers. I got some people that want to see me playing Death Stranding and some God of War. And always during the weeks, I'm on Twitch, streaming indie titles, showcasing those, because that's one of my favorite things to do, is show people games that they ignore.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So catch them there, man. Always streaming. Consistent as hell. Always putting on a good show, man. It really, really, joy to stream or even watch stream, man. So that's been amazing. So appreciate you, Stag. Your consistency every week, man. Your sense of humor, you are awesome as well.
I will be gone the next 2 weeks. But,
that is true. That is true.
Kids got to choke people out, and I got to take them to it. So
supervised choke outs. So just
we
got strict
in the crowd. Yeah, snap his head off.
Oh, you guys, I got a great little video that somebody sent me from class. I'm gonna post it up on Twitter later of my kid sparring with a neighbor kid who's 5 years younger, and I don't want to give it away, but I laughed hysterically when I watched it.
Okay, well, we'll definitely see. Check out Stag on Twitter, man. Follow him there. You'll be able to watch the video as well. But appreciate you, Stag. Every week you're on here, man. Thank you so much. Centurion, what's going on with you, man? I know you got some videos. We talked about it pre-show. You're going to be cooking something up tonight, sounds like.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on something this weekend. This last week, we had a huge thing go down at work where I had to devote a lot of my time towards my job, because that's just how life in America is, how life in general. So, yeah, no, I know it sucks. But no, I definitely am working on a video this weekend. But as always, if you guys are curious to see any of my past content, you can always check me out on YouTube, Twitter, and Xbox Live at Centurion1307. You can also find me right here every Saturday night with PTK Blam, Stagger, and Fuzzy on the Shop Podcast. I also do the TXR podcast with all the guys on Sunday nights, and I'm on Saltiest Gaming podcast with Saltiest Gamer on Thursdays.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man. Every single week, consistent as hell. So, yeah, go check out Centurion. Got some new heat coming. Hopefully get some videos these coming weeks, man. So we'll see you guys, man. Appreciate it. And last but not least, Mr. Barry Ross, Fuzzy Belvedere, the smooth operator, man. Let everybody know what's going on with you and where they can find you at, brother.
You can find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere or on Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere. More than likely playing either Division 2, Borderlands 3, or Forza Horizon 4. You can also find me on Instagram, Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word. Haven't been really posting pics lately because I've been playing games other than Forza Horizon 4 lately, but I'll get back to posting some more Forza related picks on there as well. But awesome show. Always great talking with Centurion and Stagger and you, Blam. So yeah, this like the highlight of the weekend with video gaming for me.
Awesome. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam across the board, Xbox Live. Twitter as well. Hit me there. You guys can figure out what's going on with me throughout the week. Things that we're changing as well. Updates as far as the show and just on YouTube in general. I will be putting up the poll every single Monday, so tune in for that. Make sure you're locked in and tapping in with me with that on Mondays. But I appreciate you guys' continued support, man. The show is gonna get better and better every single week. We're gonna do the best we can to bring you guys awesome content like we always have and be extremely consistent. Now, you guys did hear Stag will be out for the next couple weeks, so look for guests the next 2 weeks on the show to try and fill in that spot. But you obviously know we don't have nobody that can fill Stag's shoes, but they will. I'm sure they will do their best if we can get them on the show. But I appreciate you guys, man. Subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, hit the retweet button for the link, man. Pack this thing out every single week. We'll see you guys next week. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Have a good weekend. We are out of here.